You are turning in 10 minutes of BPTV News, brought to you by Bình Phước Television Station and Newspaper. I'm the one with the latest news for today. Vietnam-Cambodia hold defense policy dialogue. Lộc Ninh allocates over 3.7 trillion Vietnam dong to build infrastructure in border area. President received leader of Lao Front for National Construction. FDI flow bounce back. The 6th Vietnam-Cambodia Defense Policy Dialogue was held recently in the southeastern province of Tây Ninh. Senior Lieutenant General Hoàng Xuân Chiến, member of Party Central Committee and Deputy Minister of National Defense and Secretary of State of the Cambodian Ministry of National Defense, General Đài Phát, were in attendance.
The two sides exchanged views on regional and international issues of mutual concern. They agreed that relevant parties should abide by the Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the East Sea, or DOC, and step up negotiations towards the early formulation of a Code of Conduct in the East Sea, or COC, in a substantive and effective manner, and in line with international law, including the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS. The two sides affirmed that the border situation on land and sea of the two countries continues to be secured. Border guards and management forces have promoted exchanges and ties between border stations. They have also strengthened coordination in patrolling, protecting borders and landmarks, and combating transnational crime. The joint search, gathering, and repatriation of remains of Vietnamese volunteers, soldiers, and experts who laid down their lives in Cambodia during wartime have been carried out according to the 2023 plan. The two sides pledged to speed up the search, gathering, and repatriation of remains of fallen Vietnamese soldiers, and to enhance public awareness about the history and significance of the South relationship between the Vietnamese and Khmer states, people, and armies.
The Department of Communications under the Bình Phước Provincial Party Committee coordinated with the High Command of Navy Region 4 to organize a conference in Bù Nhò District to promote sea and island communication and attract human resources for the Vietnam Navy in 2023.
More than 350 officials, teachers, and students heard about the position, role, and importance of Vietnam's seas and islands in the cause of national construction and defense. They were also informed about the party's views and guidelines and state policies in the protection of national sovereignty over seas and islands in the current situation, as well as the glorious tradition and history of the Vietnam Navy. Participants also learned about the formation and development of the Naval Academy. The conference aimed to raise awareness among cadres, party members, and people, especially students, about the country's standpoints and policies in defending national sovereignty over seas and islands.
The border district of Lộc Ninh in the southeastern province of Bình Phước has approved public investment capital of over 3.7 trillion Vietnam dong for the 2021-2025 period to realize local socio-economic development goals.
Of the total, more than 2.1 trillion Vietnam dong is sourced from the district, and the remainder from the provincial budget, 968 billion dong, and the state budget, 693 billion dong. Lộc Ninh plans to allocate about 3.4 trillion dong to implement a number of infrastructure projects, focusing on roads connecting regions, national and international border gates, such as Da Thiết Hoa Lư and National Highway No. 13. The upgrading of these roads will facilitate travel and attract investments and give a facelift to the border urban area.
Moving on to the top stories around the country. President Võ Văn Thưởng hosted a reception in Hanoi on April 25th for President of the Lao Front for National Construction Central Committee, Silavong Khatphaithon.
The Vietnamese party and state always attach importance to the great friendship, special solidarities, and comprehensive cooperation with Laos, President Thưởng told Comrade Silavong Khatphaithon, who is president of the Lao Front for National Construction Central Committee. Appreciating the cooperations between the Lao Front for National Construction and the Vietnam Fatherland Front, President Thưởng wished that the two sides continue their exchanges and contribute to strengthening the traditional relations between the two countries. For his part, the Lao president expressed his thanks for the warm reception. He briefed the host leader on the results of his working visits to Vietnam, where the two sides shared experiences and agreed to increase exchange activities in the time to come.
Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính on April 25th presided over a meeting between the government's standing members and ministries to seek measures to address difficulties facing production and business.
In his opening remarks, Prime Minister Chính said, in the first quarter of this year, the country's economic growth was lower than the same period last year due to both objective and subjective reasons. For the economies to recover quickly and develop sustainably, it is necessary to evaluate and set out appropriate goals, tasks and solutions with focus on supporting businesses and people to promote production and business, he said. The government leader assigned concrete tasks for ministries and branches, asking them to make greater efforts in administrative reforms, planning work, public investment disbursement, interest rates and tax adjustments to help businesses, among others. During the meeting, participants discussed a number of concrete issues, including measures to reduce lending interest rates, the operations of the corporate bond market, and the performance of the Prime Minister Working Group.
Deputy Prime Minister Trần Lưu Quang and Cambodian Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Interior Ko Hom Sa Kheng co-chaired the 12th Conference on Cooperation and Development of Border Localities in Tây Ninh Province on April 25th.
Addressing the event, the two Deputy Prime Ministers noted with pleasure the good cooperation and close coordination between the two countries, including their border provinces, since the 11th meeting in October 2021. They also revealed economic, trade and investment ties, which remain a bright spot of the bilateral relations, with two-way trade exceeding $10 billion last year, up nearly 11% from 2021. Regarding cooperation between border provinces, the officials agreed that it has produced positive results with regular delegation exchanges and mutual support in economic development, infrastructure, healthcare, education and social welfare. They agreed to invest more in border gates as they resolved to maintain the bilateral trade in general and border trade in particular, while encouraging border provinces to enhance cooperation in various sectors.
So far this year, foreign direct investment channeled into Vietnam near $8.9 billion, with new capital surging after a slight decrease in the first 3 months of this year.
According to the Ministry of Planning and Investment, there were 750 new projects granted investment licenses worth over $4.1 billion, up 65% and 11% annually respectively. A total of 386 projects had the capital added for a total of $1.66 billion, a 19% increase in quantity and reduction of 68% in value against the same period last year. The growth, despite the associated decrease, reflected investors' confidence in Vietnam's business climate and decisions to expand the existing projects. The number of countries and territories investing in Vietnam in the period amounted to 77. Singapore took the lead by pouring close to $2.2 billion in the market, followed by Japan and China. Although exports of the FDI sector decreased, it still offset the trade deficit of nearly $8.3 billion of the domestic business sector and helps the country gain a trade surplus of about $5.2 billion in the first months of the year.
That is the end of our bulletin today. To read what this news, you can download the BPTV Go mobile app or visit our website and YouTube channel. Now, thanks for staying with us and see you next time.